Welcome to Shotgun Story, the podcast that has conversations with indie creators about music, meaning, and the point of it all, so that you may be inspired by the journeys of other artists who are doing it for themselves, and maybe gain a little more understanding as to why it matters quite so much that you keep creating. Senna-Marie is a Johannesburg-based singer-songwriter who is interested in the clumsiness of feeling, fight, and body. And she's in studio with me today. Hi, Senna.
Hi.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Your relationship with music. Full-time, part-time, or it's complicated?
I want to say it's not complicated, but of course it's complicated because it is my full-time occupation, but I have to supplement it with other jobs in order to pursue it and still pay rent and, I don't know, go to the dentist every now and then.
It's an age-old story, hey?
Yeah.
Music qualifications or self-taught?
Self-taught. I would have loved to go to music school, and I ended up going to study fine art instead. I didn't know what I needed to do to get in, and it felt very inaccessible to me at that point in time in my musical journey. Yeah, there were so many things I could have done actually, but kind of exciting to have taken this route as well and learned from people.
And have you found as yet that it's held you back at all?
Not having a qualification. Yeah, there definitely has been a transition since I've taken music more seriously and sort of started to record and those sort of things. I did take a few lessons with Becky Koza at some point on guitar, and I mean, he's a wizard on guitar. I don't know quite what I was thinking because I had so much to learn before even going to him, but he was wonderful in sharing ideas and teaching me, and it gave me a sense of what I don't know, and that was quite hard to fathom. It was a little disheartening at some point, and just realizing, like, wow, there's this world of theory that, I don't know if you'd agree, that there's this discrepancy between how people who aren't qualified, so to speak, how they might perceive of theory as something that might stifle the creative process, or that's something I kind of have come across, especially from the songwriter canon of. The more I've learned, and also from the people that are in my band and that I play with, the more I've realized it's really just a language, and it is an endless language that you can learn, and then you can communicate very quickly and more complex ideas to some extent. Yeah. But even a little bit of the language helps you communicate a feeling or get the mood right for something. So yeah, it only holds me back if I'm unwilling to keep engaging, but I don't really feel I need to go to an institution to learn, though it would be nice because it's very facilitated, and yeah, one day.
No, it would be nice.
I'd love to. Yeah, it would be nice with that whole money thing and being a musician.
And time.
Right.
Your early influences.
My early influences. How early?
Who were you listening to at the beginning?
At the beginning. I mean, I wrote my first song at 7 or so. And I wonder who I was listening to then. Maybe Tracy Chapman, definitely. I think there was a time when I couldn't tell the difference between my dad and Bob Dylan in their songs. I think, my dad played every night when I went to sleep. So he was also a huge influence in becoming a songwriter.
Was your dad a professional musician?
He was in some bands. He performed in Damn the Icebergs a while back, and I think there was a time in my life where he took it very seriously, but this idea of professionalism, I don't know, I guess no, he wouldn't call himself one, and isn't anymore, and having children also, I guess he adapted to that. But he played a lot, it's a very big part of his life.
What made you want to pursue music?
These are all the big questions. I don't know if there was ever a time where I didn't want to pursue music. Even as a high school student, I remember getting my friend to join me, and we wrote this song and went and performed at the talent show thing, and we didn't make it in at all. But I think I've always wanted to share the songs that I write, and even since I was quite small, always just humming melodies and things. So that's sort of the short answer. But there was a moment where I decided I want to prioritize music. And I think that was a different feeling to just wanting to do it. It's funny because it's quite a vulnerable or personal thing. It's like that essence, or why do you do something?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the most important question.
Yeah. And yet I'm not sure I actually have the words to say it out loud, why. Maybe I'm still figuring out. Maybe it's an obsession. But at this point in time, I just don't want to not do it.
That is a great reason to do something. Highlights of your music career so far?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, it's just the idea of like a music career is like fresh to my ears. It's really being able to collaborate with the people that I've come to collaborate with, and to share that with people, to be, I don't know, that was always, that unlocked a lot for me, because it felt like such a solo journey at some point. And then I started playing with Ryan Schultz, who composes with me a lot of the music and produces and plays and writes. And yeah, I think being able to take it seriously with somebody else, that sort of serious play, and sort of coming to meet people who are keen to do that and ready to put the time into it, and just also loved it. Yeah, that's probably the highlight, and continues to be. I was like, oh my goodness, this person.
That's beautiful. So you've just released your first EP. I said just last year before?
March the 5th. Yeah, March last year.
March the 5th, 2022.
2022.
You released the first EP.
Yeah.
Label or independent?
Independent.
And going forward, what would be your intention? To keep releasing independently, or do you have ideas of working with labels?
I'm trying to research a lot of this and find out, I think the right kind of representation can do a lot for an artist. But at this point, I've got so much to learn along the way, and the last thing I'd want is to be with a label that I don't get to do what I'm already doing now. So, yeah.
Okay, so you have been performing live a fair amount. How do you find turnout at shows? And I know you've also just recently come back from London, so I'm interested to know the difference in turnout between Johannesburg, Cape Town, London.
It's something that I thought about a lot on my flight home. Because the turnout, one of the shows was a new artist showcase night on a Monday night, and it was really well attended. People had all bought tickets, and there was this really still audience, and I was, surprised that could happen. But a lot of the perception when I got home, there's a certain idealism that people have around sort of London or international spaces, and I don't know enough to know how rooted that is, but I do think the density in London makes for a different level of demand on these spaces, and I think that can sometimes be overlooked. And it means that people, to my brief time in London, it meant it was likely that things would be booked out. Even just trying to book tickets, it was hard for me to book because things were sold out 3 months in advance, and people are thinking where they're going to go. And when there's so many people, of course, the demand is going to be higher, and the attendance as well. And I think we have so much choice in Joburg, or I've also performed in Cape Town, but there's a lot of places you can go out and experience something different. Sometimes we just disperse our audiences, and that's a big challenge. I'm not sure, what we as artists and people creating shows and wanting our music to be heard in the right spaces can do about that. But I think people are willing to show up. So it's just creating a relationship as well with our audiences. They can anticipate to some extent what they might get. And at least for me, that's something I want to try, sort of create experiences where people, that they're glad they picked this over something else, and that they could pick something else if this isn't what they want for the evening. Yeah. So just being able to communicate that and sort of put a little bit more effort into creating a sense of what the show might be like.
Beautiful. I look forward to seeing what comes out of that. In the old days, we'd hand out flyers and we'd put up posters and we'd do real on-the-ground work to get people at the shows. And these days, it's obviously social media, and you've got to have followers, and you are sending out these event invites, and it feels so soulless. What do you find works?
Nothing. No, I'm kidding. No, it's exhausting. I don't know. I do the Instagram thing a little bit, not very well. Try to post a little something every now and then. But it's weird to be classified a content creator. I'm not really that. So Instagram feels like the tool kind of shapes me in that way. And that's frustrating because now I'm thinking of, the amount of words that will be good to fit on an Instagram post, and not really, like, it's a nice challenge, but it's not really what I want to spend my time doing. So it's tough to say. That said, I do have some ideas that I've been thinking of more recently. And that excites me. And one is just an email list. I don't know. We'll see if it happens.
So back in the day, there was an artist that I used to go watch in Cape Town, and what he used to do, and then this is not a bad idea at all, what he used to do is, and this is also before music was free, he used to, during his set, say, I have an email list, and if you put your name down on the email list, I'm going to send you a free song.
That's nice.
Which is nice, because the fact of the matter is that algorithms do not support indie artists. You don't own any of that information, or any of your fans. Not you own anyone, but you know what I mean, is like you have no access to them. So the algorithms decide, and if they don't decide in your favor, even the people who like you and want to follow you and want to know what you're doing, your content gets hidden from them. So it can feel super frustrating, and I think you are right. And I think that a mailing list should be one of your top priorities.
I think it will be quite fun.
Yeah.
I like to write a little bit more as well sometimes. So I'm thinking maybe it doesn't have to be something frequent, because some people are genuinely curious to that extent, and I think they'd enjoy that sort of thing. And the longer form is more patient. I feel like I can express more accurately, and it feels like a more constructive practice for me as well to describe. So
great idea.
Yeah.
And it's a space that you can be vulnerable in. I'm going to ask a question that I normally leave for the end, but because we're talking about it now, if somebody wants to sign up to your mailing list, how would they?
Right, so by the time this comes out, email list ready.
Yes, exactly. Note to self.
Note to self, get that email list ready. But yeah, I would love to.
Do you have a website?
I do have a website, Senna-Marie.com.
So now what you're going to do when you finish this interview, you are going to sign up to MailChimp.
Right.
And MailChimp will enable you to link your website and create a subscription form so that people can go onto your website, and then a little box that says join my mailing list, and it will put their email addresses straight into your MailChimp, and then you can write an email that goes to all the people who subscribe. You can add people in MailChimp as well. I think you should do that.
Okay,
it's important.
No, it is. It's on that to-do list, and that's a great idea. Okay, good.
As you're getting to grip with the music business sides of the music, because they're two different beasts. The music is one thing, and the business is something darker.
much.
What is your literacy of it like?
I mean, this is bringing to mind our coffee date, which was so special, by the way.
I'm glad we could do that.
A time where I also, meeting with people who've done it before and who've seen what you need to do, and just do this and try that. And it's all this belief that you kind of get to take in and use it. And that's how I feel about the business. Like, goodness, you just have to, it just gnaws at the self-belief over and over. It's like, but should I do this submission? Should I put it on Samro? Who would want to steal my songs anyway? But I need to do a little bit more of it. It's on my to-do list. This to-do list is epic, I tell you.
So most of what you know about the business stuff then is from talking to people. Is there anywhere that you go to for information besides other humans?
Well, I listened to your podcast about Sampra.
Yes.
Very informative. I guess there's this thing for me about the business aspect of music that I'm wary of, where I feel like if I try to organize past the point of necessary organization, it's like the music should necessitate the business relation, and business is a broad term for just the choice to share it and how to do that and how to be valued for that, preferably enough to live and keep doing it. Right? So as things feel like they have enough momentum, I'm like, okay, do this next to-do list. Starting with the mailing list, I feel like ready for that. But yeah, there's so much.
There's so much.
And the funding as well, and you know,
all of that.
So, yeah.
And what we are very aware of is the creative aspect of it is the most important part, because you are an artist and the business side doesn't matter if you're not creating.
Exactly. It takes so much sometimes, and it's such a different way of thinking.
So different. And it's long. Everything takes so long. Advice for other artists?
I don't know if I have any yet. Maybe I will. Oh, maybe it depends, you know, on the situation. I don't have any sort of overarching ideas because I'm all too ready to take in the advice at this point.
What would you like to tell your teenage self?
How old?
Let's think 14, 15.
14, God, what an awful age.
What an awful age.
Poor Sen. No. I think I was very anxious about choices, and they felt so permanent. I really thought they were, and I knew sort of consciously that, oh, there's so much time and you can change your mind, but somewhere it just felt very heavy. I think I'd tell her it's better to stay light about some of these things. There's so much to gain in that. It's not frivolous. You know, recognize the heaviness of some of these choices, sure, and be aware of their consequences, and but then throw it up and play with it a bit. Yeah, I think that's it.
Very, very beautiful. Local musical heroes.
Goodness, I mean, there's so many.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, what is a hero? You know, I mean, people that I've listened to a lot and just marvel at, I guess. And it brings me back to the other question that you were saying at some point was, you know, why did I choose to do music? Because I was just jealous all the time. And the best kind of jealousy, though, not a kind of envy that wants to take away, but a jealousy that's like, oh, I want to do that thing that person is doing. It's amazing. Or share in that, learn from it. So Alice Phoebe Lou is like a big influence. Dumama and Kichu. Also, I think we have so much talent here, and it's so accessible. So that was also something sort of coming back. Like, wow, it's really awesome that we can just attend and see super talented musicians, and we don't have to necessarily book 3 months in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we listened to on the way over?
Oh, goodness, I had my Google Maps, you know, and the thing was shouting at me, and my Oppo was such an old phone, and it was just freaking out, and I couldn't get my Spotify on, and I can't think of anything worse. It's like, I have to usually stop the car and, you know, sort that out and make sure I've got my music on. And I saw this question because you had sent it, and I thought, oh, well, let's see what I actually end up listening to. And now I really wasn't listening to anything.
No, I love that answer because I love how truthful it is. Okay. Social media handle. I want just one that you're most active on, that people can go and find your music and listen.
So Instagram is I think the go-to, and then there's the link tree, or it's some other hyper follow thing. In all of my follow links are there, so you can find me on any of the streaming platforms or Bandcamp and YouTube. So yeah, at Senna-Marie.
Thank you for coming to chat.
Thank you so much for having me.
This has been so lovely.
Oh, cool.
If you are an independent artist whose passion for what you do can inspire or fuel others, get in touch. I'd love to chat. You can find me on shotguntory.com.
You've been listening to another production from Solid Gold Podcasts.
Thinking how to tone it down this time. I'll say it right this time. I will avoid the fight. You walk away, walk back again. Call me names not meant, just aim to say I've crossed the line. You made to say you're only teasing, to say you didn't mean it. But it's in between the grinding teeth, thinking of a tongue that leaps this time. Shh, be quiet this time. I'm the one to cower. Walk